what kind of customers would prefer what kind of ratings and things like that is what you can analyze and recommend these products to other customers. What is those? Well, that is nothing but your recommendation engine. Even if you take your LinkedIn, if you're connected to someone, and if you're connected to me and I'm connected to someone else, there is a possibility or probability that you're also connected to someone else. Okay, what are they? They're doing recommendations in the form of connections, guys. Okay, so the concept is the same, but it is applied as different with different terminology in multiple domains. Huh? So that is why it's globally applicable, guys. That is another important thing. Am I making sense, guys? Cool. Shall I move on to the next slide, gentlemen, ladies? Okay. So how can we make our advertisements more relevant to the user? Again, if you're a 10-year-old guy and you go to google.com, a relevant ad for you to show is maybe a Nike shoes or Reebok shoes will probably make sense. But why would you show something about Hadoop to a 10-year-old guy? Okay, so how do you do that? Again, based on your previous advertisements or previous users, what they have looked at and what they were interested by analyzing those. That is called clickstream patterns, guys. You analyze your clicks, what other users who search for a particular keyword went ahead and made a purchase on. That is what they make the basis. And again, when you log in into Google, they'll have your username, password, they will also have your date of birth and things like that. So they will try to understand your age, and based on your age, they will show maybe shoes, maybe Nike shoes, maybe Reebok shoes, and not Hadoop for you if you're maybe 10 years or 12 years old. Okay, Hadoop is much more for people who are working in jobs and things like that, right? So that's how the advertisement. The objective of that is you want to increase the revenue of your company by showing the relevant ads. Okay, so what happens? Again, data typically analyzed includes relevance of ad to the search query. Based on your search query, your relevant ad needs to be decided. How do you do that? Based on you analyze what others have done, what others have looked at, guys. Okay, historical effectiveness of a given ad. Okay, so again, nothing but the history of other things that you have done, and you may want to come up with analysis. It looks like mostly at this time of the day and this day of the week, or maybe this hour, these ads will bring in more sales. You may want to come up with that kind of analysis, right? And what do you do from a Hadoop perspective? You want to predict what an average person would click. Why? The more they click, the more the chances of making a purchase, guys. Okay, collaborative filtering. Again, nothing but the collaborating filtering can help us predict a specific person's clicks. And what happened? Yahoo was able to increase their prediction accuracy by 10%, guys. That is what. So it helped Yahoo in increasing their prediction accuracy by 10%, and 10% is a pretty good number, guys, to be frank. Okay, making sense, gentlemen, ladies? Shall I move on to the next one? Okay. Okay, guys, moving on. Come here. Okay, from a telecommunications and utilities perspective, guys, okay, how can we actively prevent service outages instead of simply reacting to them? How do you go ahead and prevent these service outages? Well, here is what you do, guys. Okay, let's go here. Power, water, and telecom are utility service providers. What do they do? Well, they have a lot of infrastructure around the city, guys. Okay, at any point of time, if something fails, it is too any of the infrastructure fails, it is too expensive for them to replace, because there's a lot of manual work, there's a lot of expense, a lot of budget, time, and complexity in setting up these power utilities, guys. Okay, so it's very expensive. Cost of failure can be even more expensive. Again, there, if something fails, you replace it, it's very expensive, guys. So what can you do? You can install sensors around your infrastructure, That could be about the vibration, the temperature, or any other thing. Okay, what do you do? Get all the data. What will happen? Sensors will be generating millions and millions of rows in just a matter of seconds. What do you do? Well, by the end of the day, they will end up in multiple crores or multiple billions of rows will be getting generated because of these sensors, guys. Okay, you try to store that in database, that will fail. It'll become very expensive, very complex, and things like that. Okay, so what can you do? That's where Hadoop comes to your rescue. You can store all the data into Hadoop, and then you can analyze it. Analyze what determining leading factors of failure. You can try to find the root cause of why certain components or infrastructure is failing. Okay, you can try to find the patterns, and once you find the patterns later in the future, as you see these patterns repeating, what do you do? Well, you understand, hey, something is about to fail. So what can you do? You can take precautionary measures and replace with new components proactively. Or in other words, you don't even need to replace them with the new components if you know something is going to fail. By taking the precautionary measures, you can prevent it from failing. What will happen? You bring down your costs. Gentlemen, ladies, am I making sense, guys? Okay. So that is from a telecommunications point of view and from a healthcare standpoint, guys. Okay. So how can we protect patients from dangerous drugs, dangerous medicines, where something might be good for someone, something it may not be good, and things like that, guys? What do you do? Well, again, this can be compared to a retail example. A physician needs to know what medicine the patient uses. Drugs can negate one another or cause deadly interactions. One medicine could be good for one person, but the same medicine may not be good for another person with similar kind of disease. How do you find that without really giving that medicine to that patient? Well, by analysis, guys. Okay, this data is not always accurate. Patients may not always recall the medicines. They may not intentionally share what they are taking, and study documents discrepancies in 80% of the patients what they reveal, right? So what do? You can analyze the history of the patients, quite similar to product recommendation use case. Okay, a customer is like a patient, a product is like a medication, guys. Okay, you can understand. Recommenders can be agnostic to what it's being evaluated. In other words, agnostic means it's not really worried about whether it's a patient or a customer. It will just execute the concept that you give it. Okay. So result is a list of medications that similar patients report. So similar patients, when they go ahead and take some medicines, they will you can look at the results. The more the results you look, the more the data, guys. The more the data, the more the probability. Remember such an example, the more the value you get out of that, guys. Okay, and then what can physicians say? Physicians can then specifically ask about or test for use of these. Physicians can understand what more patients are using, what is working, what is not working. That will right away give them the understanding from a data perspective whether something is going to be good or not. They will have their experience, there is no question, guys. But even from a data perspective, if they get some useful insights, right, it will be very, very helpful for the patients. So that is what is the advantage, or that is what is the usefulness of the, or that's how the Hadoop use comes into picture, guys. Okay, gentlemen, ladies, making sense, guys? Shall I move on to the next one? Pardon me. Okay. Okay, guys. So this is about perspective of how you go about your designing your cluster and things like that, guys. So for today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be wrapping up here today, guys. Okay. What we will do is we will try to continue from tomorrow, and we'll try to take it from there. So in the meantime, if you're interested, go ahead and complete your formalities, guys, and uh, we will take it from there. Okay. Chandra will get in touch with you and get more information, and we can proceed from there, guys. Okay. So any questions before I wrap it up for today, guys? Okay, gentlemen, ladies, thanks for giving me the opportunity. If you're interested, please follow up with Chandra. He will be online and he will take it up from here. If
Fine.
anything
Thanks,
else
Mr.
is
Naveen.
needed,
And
one second, Chandra. There's a question
sorry.
from Vivek.